So the House is set to vote on ending the government shutdown tonight as millions of air travelers face mounting flight delays, cancellations, holidays looming. Let's take a closer look on how inconvenient and how troublesome it's been to be in the air. For example, take a look at November. This is the schedule that Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy has put together to make it safe to fly. He says, okay, if you don't have anything by by November 7th, it's going to be a 4% reduction. That's what we're in. As of 2 days, as of yesterday, we ramped up to 6%. So you got text messages, hopefully emails that said, hey, don't show up, your flight's been canceled. The other ones that happen in real time, they tried to make that they tried to give people as much notice as possible. And then on the 13th, that is tomorrow, we're going to have 8%, and then we got up to 10%. Now the question is, if they vote tonight to ramp up and end this shutdown, is it still going to be 10% on Friday? We know this. Total cancellations, 10,000 nationwide. Think about how you've been inconvenienced, how many people and their jobs have been hurt. And what about different airports where it's the worst? The worst is O'Hare in Chicago, where it's freezing, Atlanta, which is probably the biggest airport I've ever been in, 577. Newark Liberty has been a problem, really, since the Secretary of Transportation took over. A lot has to do with where they moved their air traffic controllers to Philadelphia. And New York City LaGuardia Airport's been totally rebuilt, but hasn't stopped 70% of all flights being canceled. So let's bring in Nick Daniels. He's president of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and he is all over this, and a former air traffic controller. Nick, your thoughts about what it's been like at airports when they just after sharing those numbers with the American people.
Thank you, Brian, for having me. Air traffic controllers share the exact same frustration as the American flying public, that they should not be the pawns in any type of government shutdown. The way that this doesn't happen, the way that we don't see this type of disruption in the national airspace system that's already fragile enough, where we only have 10,800 certified controllers operating where there should be 14,633, 3,800 short. And these American patriots, men and women, showed up day after day for 42 days to keep this system running. Just goes to show that how much damage is being caused every day this shutdown drags on, and that it needs to end tonight, and it needs to end now.
Right. So do you have a sense of how many air traffic controllers just said, I'm not coming in if you can't pay me? And also, how many just resigned?
Well, we know we've got reports of over 20 that have resigned even mid-career. We had air traffic controllers that were going through Oklahoma City Academy that eventually worked to become air traffic controllers. They started up and resigning, saying they can't go from entry-level pay to not even having a paycheck at all. We're talking about controllers making less than $50,000 a year, then going to some of the highest cost areas of living, doing one of the most stressful and complex jobs in the world. It is, incredibly complex, but it's also setting us backwards from the issues that we had in the very beginning. And that is one of the things that Secretary Duffy, myself, Administrator Bedford, we're going to have to pick up the pieces when this is all over and find a way to move it forward, because we were on a path to actually fixing these things until this government shutdown.
We have to take the power to shut down the government away from Congress. It's just out of control. They can't be trusted with it. Here's Secretary of Transportation on what he thinks about the controllers who didn't come in.
For those air traffic controllers who, before they missed a paycheck and we were in the shutdown, they decided on a continual basis not to show up for work. They don't know how long the shutdown was going to be. They hadn't missed a pay period, and they didn't come to work. I'm concerned about those controllers. I'm concerned about their dedication. I'm concerned about their patriotism. And so we haven't made a decision, but we are going to look at those controllers who continually made the decision not to show up for work.
Well, right now, you don't have much leverage because you don't have enough people, but you have to raise the age. I think mandatory retirement's 58. You guys want to get it to 62. Is that reasonable?
No, right now it's actually 56, and that's the area that it's reasonable. Now, the Secretary can waive and keep people up to age 61 after that. He's exercised that right on occasion, but the air traffic controllers make tens of thousands of decisions a day. We see most air traffic controllers retiring within their first year of eligibility, and that was something Secretary Duffy and myself, we partnered on from the very beginning of how do we incentivize these air traffic controllers to stay around and train that next generation air traffic controllers, because they are exhausted from working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and only 4 days off in a month.
Okay, so you want to incentivize them to continue. I get it.
Absolutely.
All right, so here's what the airline said, because now that the shutdown ends, we want to know when we can get back to normal. The airline, this is what they told us. Airlines reduced flight schedules cannot immediately immediately bounce back to full capacity right after the government reopens. It'll take time. There'll be residual effects for days. What do they mean by time? What do you think?
It's because a system is this complex, but yet this fragile, is not something you just flip a light switch on and off. Every single component of it, we have to see what all damage was occurred. We talked about the resignations. We talked about the new trainees that aren't coming in right now because so many of them decided to step away from the career and from the profession and the true challenge that air traffic is. But air traffic controllers are going to do what we do. Every time that this country is in crisis, we step up and we show up. We stepped up in 9/11 and cleared the nation's airspace in a terrorist attack. During the pandemic, everybody stayed at home. We showed up every single day. Both of the longest government shutdowns, we kept America moving, and we'll do it again, and we'll do it with this administration and work our way through it.
And Nick, we'll stay on top of it because we need more great air traffic controllers like you are. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Can't wait to get back to normal.
Thank you for having me.
Through no fault of your own.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.